Hi there guys, welcome back to Classic Shack, and today I've got a different video for you. So last year my wife and I travelled to the States and we did a road trip out there for just under 3 months where we covered 10,750 miles. And in this video I am going to show you the basic route we covered, but some of the car related things that we saw while we were out there. So yeah, let's flip to the app I used to plot the route and get on with the video. Okay, so we flew from Heathrow Airport in London over to JFK in New York, where we spent a few days looking around New York until it came to the point where we were due to leave and picked up our hire car. This is a Volvo S60 T5, which is not what we ordered, but it did the job for the first part of the journey. So we left New York, heading for Washington, and stopped at Annapolis on the way for dinner. That was a really nice place. Next stop was Williamsburg, where we stopped for a couple of nights. Then on to Wilmington for a couple of nights. And then our next stop was Charleston, but in between we stopped at Myrtle Beach, which is where this gift shop was. I had to record a bit of this because they used old classic trucks as displays in the shop. It was huge. They had all sorts of cars on display as well as endless amounts of merchandise. And also, Myrtle Beach is the mini golf capital of the world, so while we were there, we had to have a game of mini golf. Turns out there's over 30 mini golf courses just in Myrtle Beach alone. So we then carried on heading down the coast, staying at Charleston. We visited Savannah. We stayed at Brunswick. And then we drove down the coast to Daytona Beach, where we stopped for a little while before staying at Orlando. When we got to Orlando, the first sort of car thing we did was going to Kissimmee to Old Town. And there they have like a cruise night and a car show. I went here when I was a kid, probably like several times between the ages of 10 and 16, and yeah, I just wanted to go back really and see what it was like. And luckily enough, the night we arrived was the night they have the car show and car cruise on, so that was pretty cool to see. So we stayed in Orlando for 4 nights, seeing some other local attractions, Universal being the biggest one, so my wife could go and see Harry Potter. And then just as we're leaving, Hertz decide they want us to swap the hire car. So we ended up swapping to a Subaru Outback, which was all right to be fair. The boot was bigger, so that suited us. We then came to leave Orlando, and our next stop was Miami Beach. So we basically drove down the coast as much as possible to get there. We had one night in Miami Beach, and our hotel was right on the beachfront, so it's a great location. We left Miami Beach heading for Key West, and part of the reason for wanting to go there was because I went to Key Largo as a kid and we never went over the 7 Mile Bridge, so this time we did. Over the 7 Mile Bridge, stayed in Key West for I think it was 5 nights, and then headed back up. We stayed one night in Key Largo, and then we went to the Everglades and looked around the national park there. After leaving there, our next stop was Naples. And just as we got here was when Storm Helene was coming. And we were meant to be staying in Clearwater, but because the storm was there, we changed our plans and ended up going back into Orlando, staying there for a little bit until the storm passed, and then we carried on our journey. We did still go to Clearwater though, so that I could go to Orange County Choppers, because I've been a fan of that TV show for quite a while. So yeah, that was a pretty good place to go. A few of the bikes on show. They've got a cafe there. There's a Harley dealership next door. So yeah, had a good look round, had some food, bought some merch, and then got back on the road again, heading to Orlando. So we waited out the storm a couple of days in Orlando, drove around the coast to Crestview, stopped at Pensacola Beach, went in our first Buc-ee's. We ended up going to 7 Buc-ee's in total. We went to New Orleans, stopped at Tuscaloosa, and then went to Barber Motorsport Museum in Birmingham. This place is brilliant. It has got the world's largest motorcycle collection, and it's over 5 floors. It's got a racetrack on site, and it's all based on an 880 acre site. So if you're ever in that sort of region, it's definitely worth going. Even if you're not like the biggest bike fan, it's really great to go and see it. The museum, came out, went into Buc-ee's, and bumped into this chap who was just on his way back from the Duct Tape Drags. So that was really good. Had a little chat with him for a little while, and yeah, there's his Instagram if you want to go and follow his page. We then got back in the car and drove to Nashville, where we were staying for 4 nights. One of the things I wanted to see while I was there was the American Picker Shop. And when we got to it, it turned out it was in an old Marathon Motorworks building. And the building still has a lot of the old machinery, and there's loads. It's like a small museum really that's free to enter, and you can wander around the whole lot of it. And in amongst it is small shops, and there's some bars. So yeah, it's a really good place to visit if you're in Nashville. So we ended up booking 1 extra night in Nashville just so that I could go to the C10 Nationals. And yeah, it was definitely a worthwhile event going to. There was so many cool trucks there. I mean, living in the UK, you don't see all that many all in one place at the same time. So yeah, it was brilliant to see. And as well as that, they did have some trade stands. There was a auto jumble section. There are trucks going around a track. Yeah, it was a brilliant day out. I loved it. also got to bump into Chris from Restoration Rescue and have a look round his truck. I've followed him on YouTube for quite a while, so yeah, it was pretty good to meet him. He's a really nice guy. My wife was entertained by his family while I was chatting to Chris, so yeah, thanks for that as well. Really appreciate that. And Chris very kindly sorted me out with some merch, so thanks very much, Chris. Really appreciate it. We also went to a Dukes of Hazzard museum before leaving Nashville. We ended up getting back on the road, stopping at Indianapolis before heading to Chicago, where we started Route 66. So driving Route 66 is brilliant. We ended up staying a night in Pontiac, Springfield, Illinois, St. Louis, Rolla, Springfield, Missouri, before getting to Galena, where there was a C10 truck show on, which was, brilliant timing for us, seeing we were only there for one night. We then got back on the road, driving to Tulsa, and we stopped there because I'd bought tickets to go and see a Sick Week event.
Left hand side is Rob Benz, 2004 model Mustang Cobra. He's left hand side. Right hand side is Daniel Roberts. Roberts in the, I believe it's a 1996 Mustang Cobra. So Darsaw is coming up for another shot in his Oldsmobile station wagon. I believe that is Colin Pitts on the opposite side of the racetrack. It is in the 86 Regal. So we're going to do a little bit of racetrack touch-up here after we complete our CDT group, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Nike's up there looking at. So he is currently sitting number 2.
We then got back on the road after a couple of nights at Tulsa, and on our way to Oklahoma City, came across this place. This is John's place. This is a guy who has lived on this property for 25 years, and everything you see in this video he has built himself. So he has got his own workshop there, he's built a diner, he has got all sorts of memorabilia. There's a bit of everything there, and if you're ever doing Route 66, you should definitely look out this guy's place. It is excellent, and the guy himself is really nice. He showed us around to start with, showed us like some of the little bits of it, and then just left us to our own devices to look around all of his displays and also outside. Next up, we took a detour off Route 66 down to Dallas in Texas, mainly because I wanted to go to Gas Monkey Garage. So this was pretty cool to get a look around there, look around the merchandise shop they've got. Bought some t-shirts while I was there, so yeah, that was good. Also, I wanted to go to Summit Racing, and that's pretty local to it, so we went there. We ended up staying in Fort Worth for 4 nights. So we left there, headed back up to Route 66, and stayed in Amarillo, where we went to Cadillac Ranch, Bug Ranch. This is Bill's Backyards Classics. That's a pretty good place to go and see if you're in that area. Loads of cool stuff in there. We then got back on the road. We stopped at Tucumcari, Albuquerque. This is Albuquerque while we were there. We were fortunate to stop on a day when they had a Day of the Dead festival. So they had a little car show there. There was a balloon show. Yeah, that was a really good thing to like just happen to be on when we arrived. We then left Albuquerque and went on another side trip where we went to Page in Arizona to see Horseshoe Bend and Monument Valley. We then stopped at Williams, Arizona, and then we went to Vegas. And yeah, I enjoyed my time in Vegas because I rented a Hellcat. This was a 800 horsepower jailbreak edition, and I had the red key, so that was cool. We used the Hellcat while we're in Vegas to go out to the Valley of Fire, which is where me and my wife got married about 7 years ago. We then gave the Hellcat back and carried on the journey in the Subaru, where we drove back to Route 66, staying at Needles, California, and then Barstow, before ending Route 66 in Santa Monica, where we went down Santa Monica Pier. We then drove to San Diego, where we spent a few days. That was a really nice place. I'd quite like to go back there. We then drove to Pismo Beach, and we tried to drive, in fact I think we drove all of that journey on the Pacific Coast Highway, and our plan was then to drive the Pacific Coast Highway to San Francisco, but unfortunately parts of it are closed, so we ended up having to take a bit of a detour. So San Francisco is where we ended our trip. We had our last 5 days there, and in that time we went to Sausalito, Alcatraz and Oakland, because that's where my 63 C10 was built. And that was the end of our trip. 10,750 miles across America. Okay, so that was some of the car themed things I did while I was out in the States. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It was something a little bit different on the channel. I have debated doing some longer videos on the Barber Motorsports Museum and the C10 truck show, because I did take a little bit of footage there. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, it'd be great if you give it a like, consider subscribing to the channel, leave me a comment below. But yeah, until the next one, see you all later.